Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello, Darren. What are you at? Uh, Continuing my experiment with trying to get this to work here. I've been having a lot of troubles with my antiquated computer gear. I have one, two, three computers going here doing the job of one because they're so old. Yes, loud and clear. Thank you. Um, it's uh, it's it's such a task to get all this stuff to work when the stuff is so old and antiquated. Um, so what I'm experimenting with today is I want to be able to stream my computer screen to the stream, um, so we can watch YouTube videos and I can show you things on the screen. I'm sure you've seen this millions of times. This is old hat. People have been doing this for years. And I've only started doing it, and my computer gear is just not up to scratch. So this is an experiment to see if it's going to work. Um, I want to play a YouTube video, one of my own. I will in the future experiment with playing other people's videos that we can react to and watch and learn from. But for the moment, I have to do my own because I can't deal with copyright claims. And speaking of copyright claims, last night I did a live stream, and before I did the live stream, I tested it to see if it was working. So I just had things playing and going, one of my own videos playing, and a commercial, an advert came on in the middle of the video as it does. And it was an unlisted video, so it wasn't something that you guys would have seen. It was unlisted. There, you can make videos unlisted or private or public. And you're watching a public stream right now. It was an unlisted stream, so you could only watch it if you have the link, which I didn't share with anyone. The advert had music in it, and there was a copyright claim on it. And you can't even call the music that was in this advert music. It was obviously AI generated. It was just noise. It's just nonsense music. But somebody claimed it, a copyright claim on the video. It's ridiculous. I don't know why this stuff happens. Well, I know why, because musicians are poor people, and the majority of musicians are not wealthy people, so they have to get their money where they can. But it's not the musicians that are doing it. It's some music industry, someone on behalf of the music industry. Anyway, it's crazy. let's get to this day in history. It's too much nonsense to talk about all this stuff because it just goes on and on and on. And I have to avoid it as much as I can because it's you know, we're talking pennies that these people claim off my videos. I don't make any money off my videos, so it's pennies we're talking about. This day in history, 4th of September. It is, um, let's see here. This day in history, in 1861, a committee of the British Association for the Advancement of Science met in Manchester and proposed the standardized units of electrical measurement, including the volt for electric potential and the ohm for electrical resistance, naming them after scientists Alessandro Volta and George Ohm, respectively. This proposal aimed to meet the practical needs of the burgeoning telegraphy industry and establish the groundwork for a coherent international system of electrical units. So that's something that happened here in Manchester in what year was it? 1861, and it was no doubt attended by our friend Joule, J.P. Joule, who's buried here in Sale, and his statue down in the Worthington Park. Sorry, I'm just looking through here. There was something about oh, here we go. The committee's role led by prominent scientists like William Thomson, that's Lord Kelvin, and that made me think of the video that we'll be watching later on. Lady Kelvin, his wife, opened the Linotype building. So Kelvin was good friends with Joule. So Joule was probably at this meeting too that standardized all these units, things that are just common nowadays. We don't even think about volts and ohms and things like that. They're unless you're an electrician or electronics or something, we don't even think about these things. They're just so commonplace. Another this day in history. Yesterday, the Second World War, well, it didn't really start, but it's kind of when we acknowledge that it started on September 3rd, and that's when Britain declared war. Today, Canada declared war on Germany and its allies. Canada was trying to establish its sovereignty. In the First World War, we declared war along with Britain. We were like a colony, so we're trying to establish our own place in the world. But today, an interesting thing happened. There was the first air raid. So the very next day after war was declared, the Royal Air Force conducted an early significant bombing raid on the German naval base at Wilhelmshaven on the 4th of September 1939, the day after Britain declared war on Germany. It was a pretty amazing feat. It was really terrible weather, and they had to fly really low. They were like less than 100 feet the whole way, and it was the first blow against Germany. So the objective was to sink German warships, and it was Bristol Blenheims were the aircraft involved in that, and it was the first German naval casualties of the war. It was the first RAF casualties of the war, I think. There was a couple of crews lost, I think. One guy was so damaged he crashed into one of the battleships. And it was, so they did okay. They didn't make any great strides in their objectives, but there was a couple of battleships heavily damaged, and there was a Canadian there as well. I think the Canadian was the guy that was shot down. Uh, some of the earliest battle deaths of the Second World War occurred during this raid, including Flying Officer Herbert Brian Lightoller and his crew, whose Blenheim was shot down by anti-aircraft. So that was This Day in History in 1939. And I put this one in for fun because it's it's kind of a flop in Ford Motor Car Company history. And I've always admired it. I think it's a smart car. It's 1957. The Ford Motor Company introduces the Edsel, and the Edsel was a flop. It did not do well at all. It didn't sell well. People didn't like it, and I think it's a pretty smart looking car. And don't you love the colors? What happened to car colors? Terrible, isn't it? The car colors have just gone to pot, haven't they? Another This Day in History. Of course, you all know how fond I am of these guys. The Beatles record "How Do You Do It?" That was the note on the This Day in History that I was looking at. And "How Do You Do It" was not a song of theirs. It wasn't an original song. I don't know why this was of note, because they also recorded "Love Me Do" that day, which was their first kind of little hit that put them known to us. But it says, "I have a few music pieces of my own you're welcome to use copyright free." Oh yeah, fantastic. Uh, Even compose a classical guitar piece for video. Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. Um, when I make these out of context comments, I'm responding to the live stream comments here. That's Baby with a Laser. So, yeah, the Beatles recorded "How Do You Do It?" And of course, that was went on to be adopted by Jerry and the Pacemakers. George Martin knew it was going to be a #1 hit, and the Beatles didn't want to do it. They recorded it, but they never released it. And of course, we didn't get to hear it until when was that? In the 90s, sometime, 95 or something, when the anthology came out. And of course, there's another anthology coming out this year, Anthology 4. Like, can there possibly be anything we haven't heard yet? I'm sure there is things we haven't heard, but are they worth hearing? Another This Day in History. That's a familiar thing to see, isn't it? Google. Google was founded this day in history on September 4th, 1998. That is a very, very important day in history, isn't it? It's certainly changed everything in the world, hasn't it? Google. It's become a verb. You Google things, don't you? So one thing we didn't do in last night's live stream, I meant to show this one. Where is it photo? The last Where Is It photo was the Pyramid Cinema, and somebody got it in the live stream, and I didn't cover it, and I don't have the photo here now, but it was a photo of VE Day at the Pyramid Cinema here in Sale. But let's see if you can figure out where this photo is related to the Second World War. It is not in Sale, it's not in Trafford, but it's very nearby. So let's see if you can figure out where this photo is. So I'll leave that up on the screen for a moment there, and I will get... Oh, there was one other. Where's that photo? Oh, I didn't put it in there. It was in 2012. I didn't put the photos in. They were just silly photos anyway, because there's not really a photo of this. A magic carpet that can help prevent falls among the elderly by warning them of unusual footsteps is developed by researchers at the University of Manchester. Now, I've never heard of this. I guess it wasn't something that was, they didn't follow up on it. You know, I don't know. I've never heard of this thing. Yeah, a magic carpet. The fibers in the carpet detect people's walking feet patterns, and it can warn you. It's the idea, it was for elderly people in like old age homes and places like that, to warn people of, you know, you're going to fall. Stop, hang on to something. Anyway, I've never heard anything about it, so it hasn't really developed into anything since. That was 2012. Magic carpet that was invented at the University of Manchester. So I will leave that photo, and you can think on that one and see if you can figure out where it is. It's very nearby here, very nearby Sale. It's not in Trafford, not in Greater Manchester, but very nearby. And it has a connection to the Second World War. So we'll leave that one for the moment. And I'm going to try our video again. This is what I want to try here. I don't know if there's music in this video, hopefully not, because I actually got a copyright claim on one of my own videos. It wasn't my music, but it was copyright or royalty-free music, and it got claimed. So it's a sad thing, but hey, I know what the life of a musician is like. If you could make 2 cents off a video, I'll take it. But it's a bit tragic for. I mean, I don't mind somebody taking a few cents that I make off a video, but getting them blocked and copyright strikes and all that, I don't want that stuff happening. So anyhow, we'll see what happens. I'm going to play the video, and I'm playing this one. It came to mind because of the Kelvin brought this video to mind. So this is an experiment to see if this is going to work. Some of you may have seen this video before. If you haven't, I'll put a link below. It's the Linotype building in Broadheath. And as I say at the beginning of this video, I found the photo, and it said it was in Broadheath, and I had no idea where Broadheath was. Broadheath could have been on the moon for all I knew. But yeah, let's have a go. I'm going to mute my microphone. Hi, it's Paul from Wicked Acorn. Today we're going to Broadheath in Altrincham. Come on! We're going to take a look at the Linotype building. This place, or actually a photo of this place, is what sparked my interest in the history of this area when we first moved here. I had no idea what it was, or even where it was. Broadheath could have been 100 miles away for all I knew at the time about it. Those bold letters on a brick building alongside the canal. Businessmen in bowler hats and umbrellas. It somehow summed up my mental image of Manchester. The Industrial Revolution, men and machines, canal boats queuing to drop off coal and take away whatever it was they made in there. Here it is, the Linotype building, or at least what's left of it. But what is it? What did they do in there? Well, obviously they made Linotype machines. But what's a Linotype machine?
It was the biggest breakthrough in printing since Gutenberg invented his press around 1440. Thomas Edison called it the eighth wonder of the world. A newspaper could print thousands of pages in an hour, but the process of getting the words from the writer's page to the press was very time-consuming. It hadn't changed much in 400 years.
In 1897, they started making the machine known as the linotype. Here, the printing industry, and soon machines made right here were in use all over the world. Until the linotype machine came along, no newspaper in the world had more than 8 pages. That's difficult to understand nowadays. A lot of people will ask, what's a newspaper? It's difficult to get perspective from a land of inkjet and laser printers in your dining room to the land of linotype machines. The press had improved, but typesetting remained much the same. The real genius of Gutenberg's press was the movable type. He made molds for the letters and cast them in lead. You could then pick out each letter and punctuation mark and assemble them into sentences and paragraphs. It was tediously slow, and it was done this way until the linotype machine came along. A newspaper press would have dozens of typesetters, hundreds of trays filled with all the letters needed. The first skill is being able to read mirror image upside. The expression, mind your P's and Q's comes from. It was a warning to apprentice typesetters. Case Q, you need to pick out what looks like a lowercase p, and vice versa. A rookie mistake that was made countless times, no doubt. Ottmar Mergenthaler, a German clockmaker living in America, was approached to solve the problem. He came up with the idea of assembling metallic letter molds and casting molten metal into them, all in a single machine. The name of the machine comes from the fact that it produces an entire line of metal type, all type. Picking out all those individual letters. The linotypist simply sat at his machine and typed his page of text. Each keyboard stroke dropped a letter down into a slot. When he got to the end of a line of text, molten lead was injected into the line of text mold. And there you have it, a linotype. Lather, rinse, start printing. Fascinating clockwork computer. It cut down on labor and saved space, revolutionizing typesetting. One linotypist could do the work of 6 people setting type by hand. The Linotype Company started life at Hume Street, Oxford Road, Manchester, with a factory assembling machines and making some of the simpler parts. The Hume Street factory soon became overcrowded, and in 1896 the Linotype Company made plans for a new factory here in Broadheath Industrial Park. It was like a company town. Between 1897 and 1901, the Linotype Company built 185 houses for its employees and their families. The estate had tree-lined roads, and each house had a garden to the front and rear. It was within walking distance of Altrincham town centre. There were 2 football grounds, a cricket ground, 4 tennis courts, 2 bowling greens, a children's playground, allotments let to employees at nominal rents, and a wooded park for workers' recreation. But most importantly, the rent was about half the going rate. It quickly became the place to work. The factory was said to be light and airy, with large, clean dining rooms where food was sold at counters. Makes you wonder where we went wrong. During both World Wars, the factory was turned over to production for the war effort. The plant was working to such a high standard that some of the companies it was producing parts for stopped making them, leaving the work to Linotype. After the Second World War, they had a backlog of orders, and things were looking good for the Linotype Company. But the times were a-changin'. Technology-based industry, you have to keep up. In the 1960s, the printing industry had moved on to a new method of typesetting, photocomposition. The plant's machinery was out of date, and over the next few decades, company saw a steady decline. In 2001, there were only a handful of employees left, and the company was divided into separate groups. Eventually, the smaller groups closed down or moved away from the area. In the words of Stephen Wright, you can't have everything, and where would you put it? The building is now Grade 2 listed. There are apartments and offices and such. It's a shadow of its former self, but it's still something to be proud of. It's a beautiful building, and it's a reminder of what we can still do if we put our minds. Hold the press! I'm not even finished editing this video, and I'm just finding out now that there's a full-length feature documentary called Linotype the Film. It's an American documentary, so no doubt they'll have a different perspective on this. I haven't seen it yet, but I'll put a link in the description.
Use
So there we go. We paused it before the advert kicked in. It's still not working up to scratch. Darren, you knew someone that worked there, did you? I'm sure a lot of people knew somebody that worked there. I think there was 10,000 people worked with Linotype at one point. I guess at the height of Linotype, and I find that really hard to believe. But that's the number I read, 10,000. That is a lot of people. I can't imagine they were all in that building. There must have been other associated buildings or around the area. That's a lot of people, 10,000 people. That's incredible. So yeah, at one point there was so many people working there. So it's still a bit glitchy, and I'm gonna have to figure out some way to do this, because I have to be able to do this. Like just putting those photos in that I showed at the beginning there is so time consuming to find the photo and put it in to the computer, download it, put it in the computer. It's so time consuming. So if I just have this computer, I can just bring it up, search it. I can search it live and bring it up live. And so I have to figure out some way to do it. My daughter is going off to university, so she's going to get a new computer. So I don't think there's a new computer in my cards anytime soon, but who knows? We may have to do something about this. Okay, well, it's another experiment, and can't call it a success, but we can't call it a complete failure. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.